You may have been hearing in the news that more homes have been selling, and it may seem like that there are more signs in yards and inventory has increased this year. This is what happened in the first half of the year. However, over the last 3 months, it's actually gone in the other direction. So, what does this mean for you as a buyer? Prices may start to reaccelerate as inventory decreases. And for sellers, with a decrease of inventory and competition, this may be the season to get top dollar for your home. We very often hear people say, I'm going to wait till after the holidays or wait until the spring when the market is better to sell my house. In some local markets, we may only have 3 or 4 homes competing at a price range, so getting a jump on the market before new inventory hits in January is a strategy to get a higher value. Waiting until spring makes no sense because the supply of listing increases substantially entering the new year, which will lower the demand for your home. What will wind up taking place is a balance between the amount of listings that are on the market and the amount of buyers that are out in the market. Right now, the buyer demand is actually increasing very dramatically. I'm not saying that there will be the same amount of buyers over the next couple of months, but what we do know is that there will be a lot less listings now, and that's the important thing. When do most listings come on the market? The second quarter of the year. I've been in the business for over 25 years, and every year this is the case. We see a surge of new listings locally in January through the first quarter, with the highest number of new listings in April, May, and June. So, if you're waiting for the busy spring market, you're waiting just like all of your neighbors who also plan on selling their homes. Now, you may be thinking, yeah, there will be more listings, but there will also be a lot more buyers, right? So, let's take a look at the inventory levels and month supply. Month supply of inventory is the ratio of how many listings for sale versus how many people are buying houses right now, all the way through March. The higher that number, the better it is for the buyer, not the seller. The sweet spot locally for sellers actually tops in November and December. Inventory month over month is well below where it was last year, keeping the market in the seller's advantage. George Ritui, the senior economist at Realtor.com, says buyers looking for their next home have faced the headwinds of tight inventory and a competitive market this year. While lower mortgage rates and the arrival of fall promised a reprieve, conditions continue to tighten as demand remains strong. Yes, buyers are out there right now. We just have a few listings to show them, though, so how can the seller benefit? List your house now. Freddie Mac states, we expect the positive momentum in sales to carry over into the fourth quarter and early next year. We forecast that total home sales, including both new and existing homes, will be 5.98 million in 2019 and increase to 6.03 million in 2020. They're calling for an increase. We have a momentum happening this year that we didn't have last year going into 2019. Remember, interest rates skyrocketed at the end of last year, and that cut any momentum coming into 2019. We are seeing the reverse this time. The industry is building momentum right now, and we are going into the new year really strong. Depending on the price, you're going to need advice because we really have a divided or split market. This is probably explained best by Realtor.com in their latest report. Entry-level inventory saw the largest declines, with the number of homes priced under $200,000 dropping 15.2% year over year. Meanwhile, mid-tier inventory priced between $200,000 and $750,000 dropped 4.3%, and the inventory of the nation's most expensive homes saw a slight increase as the inventory of homes selling for more than $750,000 increased by 1.3% year over year. In our local market, we can break these prices and percentages down even smaller. So what are we saying? In the lower end markets and the middle end markets, we need more inventory and it's a strong seller's market. In the upper end of our markets, we have to make sure we price everything perfectly, and then we will see the sales. Let's take a look at mortgage rates. As I said before, mortgage rates skyrocketed up toward the end of last year and then came tumbling down. The great news is, according to Freddie Mac and what their projections are, is that interest rates will remain at pretty much where they are now for the next year. Right now, we're in a great market if you're looking to buy a house, whether you're moving up, moving down, or you're a first-time homebuyer. Now, when we're talking about rising prices, it's important that we consider the interest rate because you may be concerned about affordability. Here's the Housing Affordability Index from National Association of Realtors from 1992 today. The higher the bar, the more affordable homes were. What we can see right now, where we stand today, is the green bar all the way to the right. Now, it's not more affordable to buy a home now than it was during the housing crash, because obviously interest rates came down and distressed properties also drove prices down. Foreclosures, some were selling for 50 cents on the dollar. and short sales, some of those were 20 cents on the dollar. Those properties had an impact on the surrounding homes and their value. So, very obviously, affordability was way up during that time. But if we take a look at where we are today compared to any time from 1990 to 2008, it's more affordable to own a home now than at any of those other times. And let's take a look at the alternative. If you decide to rent instead of purchase, look at rents over the last 30 years. Pretty dramatic increase. Where's the market going? None of the major entities are suggesting that prices are going to depreciate. As a matter of fact, many of those numbers were adjusted upward in the last month, and that's across the whole country. Here's CoreLogic's forecasted year-over-year percentage change in price by state, and what you can see here is that every state is projecting an increase, with California showing some of the highest projected appreciation. One thing you may have heard or are concerned about is the possibility of a recession. A recent survey done by Realtor.com showed that over 50% of people believe that this recession is coming in 2020. I wanted to give you the home price changes during the last 5 recessions, going all the way back to 1980. Yeah, sure, prices dropped 19.7% in 2008 because housing and the mortgage market meltdown is what caused that recession. So, of course, prices dropped dramatically because that recession was caused by elements of the housing industry. But in the 4 recessions prior to that, only once did prices drop, and that was less than 2%. The other 3 recessions, prices actually went up. In 2 of those 3, they went up at really nice clips of 6.1 and 6.6%. So you know, recession does not equal housing crisis. The people that are projecting that there's a recession coming are not saying that housing is going to cause it. As a matter of fact, the top 3 triggers for the next recession are trade policy, stock market correction, and geopolitical crisis. Housing is not there. As a matter of fact, when you list all of the triggers, housing doesn't come in until number 9 on factors that may cause a recession. It was number 1 in 2008. So, if a recession is coming, it's not likely to have the same effect. People worry that prices are going up because lenders are making it too easy for people to get mortgages, that maybe we were going back to the same mistakes that we made, over a decade ago. Well, that's not true either. Here's the historic data for the Mortgage Credit Availability Index from the Mortgage Bankers Association. What you can see on the graph is that the higher the line, the easier it was to get a mortgage. So we could see that prior to the boom and bust, the number was just around 400. What wound up happening during the boom is that number more than doubled. It was twice as easy to get a mortgage. But when the crash came, it came tumbling down, not back to 400, but down to 100. It became almost impossible to get a mortgage. All the lenders were afraid to give mortgages. Now we've seen some progress, and it's ticked back up since then, but that index isn't even at 200, even half of where it was prior to the boom. It's still very difficult to get a mortgage today, and the lenders are very diligent in verifying qualifications. So, if this information has you thinking about your strategies in buying or selling real estate, please contact us either by phone or email. We would be happy to show you how you can leverage the market factors and make it work for your benefit. Thank you.